this afternoon in what is known as the outer ward of the tower. So, what exactly is that? Well, put simply, the outer ward is the gap, the space between the inner and the outer ballium or defensive wall. The inner wall still stands some 50 feet high. The outer behind you, you've just walked through it, some 28 feet thick. To your left here, Mint Street. Sun entering these buildings called the Casemates, the Royal Mint of our nation, was once located. It was here for some 8 centuries, all of England's gold, silver bullion stored, its coinage hammered out, designed and produced. This building here with the 2 floors was home to the master of the mint. We've had many, of course. One of our most famous, here his home for over 20 years, was a man known as Sir Isaac Newton. Heard of him? Yeah. Of course you have. We all know Newton, but he was the man who invented... Of course he did, sir. He invented gravity. That great British invention. Which, thankfully for us all still today, binds the whole of the universe together. And who said there was a problem with British workmanship? No, good answer, sir. Actually, he discovered gravity. Better answer than the first group this morning, though. Asked that question, they replied, Newton invented the apple. How did he do that? However, by 1810, due now to the increased demand for Great Britain's coinage, the Royal Mint here in the Tower is too small to accommodate everything. And so, as a result of this, it is moved outside of the walls, in fact across the road to larger premises. And these buildings in turn are converted into small houses. And it is today within such we yeoman warders, to give you our daily title, of course we're more famously known the world over by our nickname. Yes, I am a beef eater. I'm not a vegetarian, it's a nickname. Why we called that? The truth, nobody really knows. It is here we yeoman warders. But incidentally, please feel free to annoy my colleagues intensely today by asking them that question. It is here we yeoman warders, and yes, our families today now live. Yep, we really do live here. Did you know that? No. Did you care? Yeah. And if there's anyone here from Great Britain, any British people here? Yeah, I do live here, and it's not rent-free. It's actually 8% of my wages. Yeah, fantastic. How weird is that? You actually sort of live here and you have to pay for the privilege. And when you get a pay rise, your rent goes up. How weird. However, sorry, a long time ago, so when I was a young man, look at me now, I'm scarred. 10 years working here with tourists. Let me tell you now, it does something to a man. But behind you here and to your right, a tall and narrower archway than the one you've just passed through, known as the Sally Port, called the Royal Entrance. Why? There, that spot, the 29th of May, 1533. Henricus Rex! King Henry VIII himself, all 6'2" of him. He was to wait there impatiently for the arrival of his second wife, soon to be crowned Queen of England. Her name, Anne Boleyn. A day here in the Tower of great pomp and ceremony. The king, it is said, seeing the lady arrive through that very arch, was to fall to a slippered knee. And the king, holding that lady's tiny hand in his, promised Anne at that very spot that he would love her every day of her life. Poor Anne, of course, was doomed to return to the Tower only 3 years later. Anne of 1,000 days. But this time she comes back to the Tower through another gate. Traitor's Gate! And from the walls of here, she's never to leave. But in front of you here, you can see the Bell Tower. The Bell Tower is the strongest of the 13 smaller towers that today make up the inner wall. For those who are into figures, the Tower of London today, an 18-acre site, 750,000 tons of stone, 20 towers in total. After the Norman Keep, the White Tower, this one the strongest of the lot. Built here on the orders of Richard I of England, the Lionheart himself. I'm sure you heard of him, yeah? Richard I? Connected with that mythic man of his age, Robin Hood. Heard of Robin Hood? Yes. Of course you have, we all know him, don't we? Yes. Kevin Costner. The walls here, though, are 11 feet thick, and they taper to 8 above. Inside, one on top of the other 2 circular chambers. And no doubt, due to the building's immense strength, prisoners are said to have been held here. Notably, the lower chamber, 1535, here held the man for all seasons, Sir Thomas More, Lord Chancellor of all England, the Speaker of the House of Commons. More held here the charge, failing to recognise the King as the head of the Church here, England. Same charge, same time, Upper Chamber, More's friend, John Fisher, the Bishop of Rochester. He too is also held. Both men said to have suffered terribly here, but they could not be persuaded to abandon their strong-held Christian beliefs. And so, eventually, both men are taken up there to Tower Hill, where in front of thousands... Yes! I love this job. Those poor souls' heads are cut from their bodies! We always like a happy ending, don't we? But no, the story in fact does not end there. Some 400 years later, in 1935, both men for their suffering are to be canonised, no less, as saints within the Roman Catholic faith. A fact which I'm sure cheered both men up immensely. But I think we're finished here, so let's move round the corner to Traitor's Gate and the bloody tower. Come on. Cheer up.